You're listening to The Scrimmage with Daniel Hargrove and Justin Domashevitz.
What is that?
That's Detroit and Seattle scoring touchdowns back and forth.
Yeah. It was weird to me not to see the Seahawks give up 45 points, but I was stunned that they scored 48.
Yeah, I was too until the broadcasters started talking about the Detroit defense. And I was like,
also not good.
That makes sense. Yeah, they're real bad.
Well, we have that Seahawks game to talk about. We also
do.
have some Mariners stuff might have happened this week.
Click the playoffs!
Andrew hugged a stranger.
Yes, he did. I was crying by myself in the car driving back from the Hoquiam Elma game.
Yeah.
I didn't weep, but I felt sad that I wasn't weeping.
You weren't sobbing?
No.
You were distracted.
I was so
You
distracted,
should probably
and
watch the game.
I didn't. Oh, watch the whole game.
Yeah.
I've watched that highlight so many times though, from all the different angles, including both broadcaster angles, because they have the Dave Sims calling it and the Rick Riz
With
calling
them,
it.
them in the aren't those cool?
Yeah.
A couple of friends of mine were watching the Mariners game on a phone from the stands at the high school football game we were at.
Nice.
So there was a point, I wasn't over there, but my wife told me about it, where all of a sudden there's nothing going on in the game, and all of a sudden the two of them just start cheering, and everybody's looking at them like, what the heck is going on? Well, that was Big Dumper.
Yeah.
Big Dumper happened.
Big Dumper.
Big Dumper now is DK Metcalf, the Seahawks version of Big Dumper, because he had to be carted off the field to go take a dump, which I'm assuming was a big dump.
So did they report that? Because I saw a notification pop up, Metcalf carted to the locker room. I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
And then by the time I got there, people were joking, I had to go to the bathroom.
It was reported as fact by, I think it was mentioned on the broadcast. But
It
also,
was later, yeah.
I saw it on Twitter. Field Yates reported it because my son was like, Dad, is this real? Who's Field Yates? And I was like, that's a legit ESPN football guy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it was real. He really had to go take a big dump. But it was concerning, because when they were carting him off the field, I was like, what happened?
Exactly.
Now, so did they actually show him? Did he actually ride a cart?
He's
off?
They rode a cart out, apparently.
Yeah, he sat on it, though. He was sitting with his legs hanging off the side of the cart.
I'm going to hope and pray that is just the absolute quickest way to get in and out of the locker
I
room.
And
assume
also,
so.
was it if I move my legs,
That's what
I'm going to poop my pants scenario?
Well,
Yeah.
that's why I'm saying I'm
Yeah.
hoping it's not. I'm hoping it didn't get to that point.
Right.
Like
Oh, I see what you're
I'm
saying.
hoping that there was just quick. I just
Well,
need to get in and out.
He could have had some bad sushi before. They're in Detroit, not exactly home of the seafood.
He could have. He could have had a Paul Pierce scenario. That would have been worse. He got wheelchaired because he pooped his pants off on the floor.
That was so good.
Yeah.
No.
Well, we got besides Mariners and Seahawks, we're going to do two separate pods today. So this is the Northwest pod. We're going to talk Mariners and Seahawks, and then in a separate podcast after this, we are going to talk all the local sports,
All of it that we have.
which was a lot. It
All
was
that
a really good weekend of local sports.
All that we have of one sport.
Yeah. We'll get a couple mentions in for other
We're
sports.
we're only human.
Yeah. We are only one man.
Yeah.
Except that we're three.
but really there's one.
Yeah. Well, between
I'm
the
just a
three
kid.
of us, we add up to one man.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's start by getting it going with the
2
minute
drill.
Let's go, huddle up. Gotta hurry. Hey, 2-minute situation, 44 seconds, hand the ball to ref. Gonna do it right. 3-jet Buckeye, don't worry.
The 2-minute drill starts now.
Former Seattle Seahawks quarterback Russell Wilson has gone viral for his new... Is there a different way to describe it than cringy Subway commercial? Justin, how would you describe it?
I would describe it in short as the worst commercial I've ever seen for any product ever. Because not only, like you said, super cringy, which is kind of Russ's brand.
Yeah.
But at the same time, where most ads that are food related, they kind of like fake that someone's eating. They really leaned into the I'm going to eat and make you listen to everything that's going on in my mouth angle, and it was disgusting.
Oh, no.
I'm imitating him right now, just eating my phone as a sub sandwich.
I kind of thought, I thought
That's
that the-
dangerous.
I thought it
All
was
right,
kind
Justin,
of
it's
funny.
you and me
No.
now.
Okay, thank you. With conference realignment rumors still swirling, some experts believe that Washington State and Oregon State are in the most precarious position in the Pac-12. A scenario has been predicted, which has several Pac-12 teams leaving for the Big 12 and several others leaving for the Big 10, leaving WSU and OSU behind. Daniel, are you worried about the future of your Beaver and Coug athletic programs?
What's the name of the league that Hawaii's in? Is that are they in the WAC?
Mountain West?
Oh, are they in the Mountain West now?
I don't remember.
Is the WAC with...
They used to be in the WAC. West Coast? I don't know. There's been a lot of moving.
Just stay on the coast. Beat up on those teams.
Yeah.
I don't know. The whole thing's going to pot. I have no idea what's going to happen. It's going to be a circus, and where everybody lands when the merry-go-round stops. I'm just going to keep throwing out weird analogies. Circus, merry-go-round, monkey poop flying through a zoo.
Yeah.
That's what's going on. I have no idea. I am worried. The NFL has announced some changes to the Pro Bowl, including ditching the traditional football game for a flag game as part of a week-long celebration of player skills. Justin, are you more likely to watch this than the traditional Pro Bowl?
I will be interested in the skills competition of players that I care about, just like the regular Pro Bowl. I kind of watch just to see what guys that I like do. So I am interested in them getting rid of the patty cake game of football that happens with pads and helmets on for the Pro Bowl, and I think this is a great shift. I'm really curious to see what a week-long celebration of player skills is actually all about. Daniel, now that the Mariners have secured a playoff spot for the first time in 21 years, should the team find a way to sign Felix Hernandez to a short-term deal so he can finally be part of a playoff team?
What? I don't think that's
Daniel
possible.
didn't read that ahead.
No, I did.
Oh, okay.
That was my planned
Actually,
answer.
it was like perfect. I thought it was a really good answer, personally.
Is
I
that
don't
possible?
think that's. I don't think it's. Well, he can't be. He's not playoff. He wouldn't be playoff eligible. So he
Do you
would
have to play a certain amount of games to be playoff eligible?
You don't have to.
You have to be on
you have
the
to-
roster at a certain point in the season. I think,
Yeah,
right?
I think you have to be with the organization at some point.
In the interest of full disclosure, I stole that from our friend Loyal who tweeted it. Like,
Gotcha.
hey,
I don't-
can you sign Felix Hernandez to like a 45-day contract because he went through a really rough stretch of Mariners baseball and never made the playoffs, and now you're in it and he's not a part of it?
Yeah,
I wonder if they could do something like, because I think you're right, Daniel. From the talk about, like, there was some question as to whether Terens was
Yeah,
even eligible,
exactly.
but he is.
Yep.
For some, it was kind of confusing. I don't think that it's possible for him to be eligible, but I would love it if they brought him back in some kind of like ceremonial, like any kind of ceremonial honoring of Felix would be awesome.
if they Ichiro'd him. Be like, dude, come wear your uniform. Nobody really knows why you're wearing a
Assistant
uniform.
to the regional pitching coach.
Manager. Yeah. Pitching coach manager. The person who's managing the pitching coaches.
He could be a consultant.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got mixed feelings on that.
Would Felix want to?
Yeah, I don't know if Felix would want to. I loved Felix so much. And I guess I shouldn't be surprised with this. This isn't something that's new. It would have been unique, fairly unique, had he done this. But if he would have put his pride aside and decided to be a reliever, he could have been an effective pitcher for a much longer time.
He could still be. No, I don't.
He probably
I doubt-
still could be.
Maybe.
I mean, look at Bartolo Colon. That guy still started games.
You look at Diego Castillo.
Yeah.
You telling me Felix wouldn't be better?
That's a good point. Yeah. If we could make that swap. Remember the commercial where he was Larry Bernandez instead of Felix Hernandez?
Yes.
Let's just put Castillo on the back of his jersey, and people will be like, hey, doesn't that look like Felix? He's like, no, I'm Larry. And they're like, well, you're supposed to
Didn't
be...
he have those sideburns?
Yes. You're
yes.
supposed to be Diego. I mean, I'm Diego. That's my name.
Well, as much as I would like to just spend this entire portion of the podcast talking about a guy who no longer plays for the team, there was some significant things that happened with the team this week. So the Mariners...
I was going to... Real quick, because we're going to spend a lot of time on the Mariners, I feel like. Very important, right?
Yeah.
Well, at least a little bit of time. The Pro Bowl...
It's more interesting than the Seahawks right now.
It's true. The Pro Bowl, I think, is interesting. I think they need to basically have some new shift to it every year because the same old thing is going to get boring whatever you do it. Like, so a flag football game, that'll be interesting this year. Next year, I don't think it'll be interesting. Whatever skills competitions they do,
they already do some.
I'm already like, oh, I'm interested in that.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I saw that last year. You know, like that's kind of my feeling about it.
I was sort of underwhelmed by it last year.
I was so underwhelmed by it last year.
Like the Great Catch Contest or whatever it was. Like, it was supposed to be like the NFL version of the dunk contest, and it just wasn't that great.
No,
like I feel like you see better catches in game. Just by the Lions
is
today.
The
like holy cow,
cool.
They made Goff look really good. Anyway,
is the dunk contest cool?
It's
not
faded. It's faded.
But it
hard.
Is, okay.
Yeah.
Because my impression of the dunk contest is that it is it's boring.
It's gotten
boring
more
now because there's like
so many
almost
props.
All the cool dunks have already been done. So
well, and the other thing is
doing it in a game is impressive and incredible.
Yeah,
doing it with a bunch of setup and a bunch of fanfare is like.
Well,
okay.
Also you say all the cool dunks have been done, and way cooler dunks are being done by professional dunkers. And YouTube's a thing, and people have watched those dunks. And now they're watching the dunk contest going, this is no longer the coolest dunk I've seen, which is what the dunk contest used to be. It was like, wow, I can't believe somebody was athletically gifted enough to do that. And now we're watching dudes on YouTube do stuff where we're like, I didn't know that was physically possible.
It got ruined by the prunkers.
It probably wasn't.
The prunkers. Pronkers?
Professional dunkers.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's my thought on the Pro Bowl. I think it'll be interesting and then not.
I haven't looked at I haven't actually bothered to read past the headlines on this. Is it a single flag football game?
Yeah, they need to do a tournament.
That was what I was gonna say. I would love to see a 7-on-7 super draft tournament. The final game of that would be must watch for me. Like I'd be like, yes.
Do you make the linemen receivers as well?
Yes.
You make
every team has to have at least
Daniel
one.
and I have talked about this super draft format.
Yeah.
You have to draft a certain number of each position, and $10 million prize for the winner. $10 million prize for the team that wins. Nothing for anybody else. You put the incentive out there. I want to see dudes breaking an ankle in this game and not even being worried about it. Like
it's a postseason.
It's worth it, bro. Let's go.
It is postseason now, which I think that actually might be the most significant difference.
It's going to be after the Super Bowl?
Before the Super Bowl.
No, but
it's always been the week before the Super Bowl.
Not always.
The Pro Bowl?
Isn't it? Oh, you're right.
The Pro Bowl's always been the week before the Super Bowl.
I was thinking it was mid-season
because you're baseball and basketball do mid-season.
I actually don't think it's always been the week before the Super Bowl because there used to not be a week in between. I don't know how far back you have to go. I think it used to be actually after the season.
Oh really?
Because
as long as I can remember, which isn't as long as I'm alive, but as long as I can remember, it's been that week. Tops. It's been that week in between.
I think there used to not be a week in between, and they used to play it after the Super Bowl was over.
Weird.
And when they moved it to before the Super Bowl, there was a conflict because then people were like, hey, then the guys who played in the Super Bowl can't be in the Pro Bowl.
Exactly.
Yeah, but they thought the NFL believed that, well, if we do it after the Super Bowl, everybody's like, man, football, turn the page, nobody's going to watch.
Yeah.
So that was why they switched it. But it had to have been a long time ago.
Yeah. It's been...
And also there's a possibility I'm totally wrong.
Anyways, the point being, Daniel and I agree that it should be a tournament, not a single game.
Yeah.
I really do think that'd be fun to watch.
I think I'm unlikely to watch much of it either way, to be honest. Because especially with these skills competitions, I feel like if anything really cool happens, I'm going to see it on TikTok or Facebook or Twitter or any. So I don't really feel the need to watch it.
I have a feeling that the skills to me, when I see a week of competition and stuff like that is...
My nephew is now 12 years old.
God, you're old as crap, man.
Rude.
I mean, I'm getting emotional. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's
I'm getting emotional. Not gonna lie.
No, I forgot the not gonna lie part.
You were gonna do that sound bit live.
Yeah, I tried it.
I could have done that. Do you want to try it again? I'll do the crowd noise in the background.
No, I'm good.
You don't want to try? Okay. Could be fun.
But I'd miss it. I mess it up again.
Okay.
He's too emotional.
Well, one of the three of us was actually there.
Yeah,
at the ballpark.
That was me.
When the Mariners secured their playoff spot with a walk-off home run by the Big Dumper.
It had to be him, right? Either him or Julio. And since Julio wasn't in the game, it had to be Big Dumper.
Had to be.
It could not have worked out better than that.
It couldn't have worked out better. It could have been Suarez also.
I could see that.
Like that, he's the
only.
other one in that.
True.
In that, like,
I could see that
carrying the team.
Yeah, but he's not one of the young players coming
That's
up
true.
who we've been waiting
I would have been
for.
pissed if it was Carlos Santana. So I'm glad.
Yeah.
I'm glad it was Big Dumper.
You know what? I saw this. I did not come up with this by myself, but I saw it on Twitter, and it just resonated with me. Cal Raleigh lived out the fantasy that every single kid who likes baseball has played out in their backyard. I don't know off the top of my head. Has anyone ever lived out that fantasy?
Like in real life?
You're
I'm
talking about bottom of the ninth.
Bottom of the ninth. 1 run needed. Full count.
2 outs.
2 outs. It's the last pitch.
Yeah.
A lot of people, sadly. I mean, not to take
No,
to take away from you.
No, I'm not.
I mean, if it was down by 3 with the bases loaded, that would have been cooler.
People have walked off
On a
with
full count, 2
counts
outs.
before. I'm talking about in such a moment.
I mean, it's happened in the World Series.
Has it? Okay.
So
if people have walked off with a full count in the World Series, then those would be the comparable.
Yeah.
To me,
I'm just saying that because I'm almost sure it's happened, but I guess I don't know if it's like to win the World Series or just to win.
I'm picturing the Diamondbacks Luis Gonzalez single up the middle being a bottom of the ninth, 2 outs, full count thing, but that also might just be my.
And it also wasn't a home run.
Yeah, it was you're trying
yeah.
you're right.
I'm remembering, I don't remember the count, but the Kurt Gibson one where he's literally injured and he goes limping up to the box and then hits a walk-off home run and he's like limping around the bases. That was to win a game in the World Series.
So then that's the hard part, because you've got all these qualifiers. Because it's bottom of the ninth, you have the exact amount of runs needed is what you get from the home run.
Yep.
It's 2 outs, it's full count.
Yep.
So there's a part
and
of
it's a
my
big
mind,
situation.
There's a part of me where I'm wondering, like, in those other scenarios that I'm thinking of that way, am I right?
Yeah, and the full count is something that I would forget.
Yeah,
and to end a drought. Yeah, the full count. Well, the full count qualifier.
That's what I'm going for. Is like for it to.
You're saying it's the biggest home run of all time.
Oh,
I'm saying it's in the running. I'm saying it's in that conversation,
especially for Mariners history.
Yeah,
right.
All of baseball history.
Right?
All 200 years of it, or whatever that is.
Again, I'm not saying it is. I'm saying it's in that conversation.
I agree with you.
It's huge.
It is huge. It's massive.
Also,
I am so sad that I did not get to hear it live. I got back in the car before they took their first break after the game.
Oh,
so I missed it by that much. And like I had like multiple texts like, it had to be this way. The Mariners. Courtney's like, they've just won. And I'm just like, I missed it.
Why weren't you listening on your phone?
I should have cut off my post game that much faster.
Making you feel bad about it.
No, it's fine. I'm so excited that you got to be there. Like that sounds like
it was amazing.
It sounds nuts.
It was really amazing, and it was a fireworks night.
Right.
So it wasn't just a party afterwards. It was a party, and then the lights went down, and it was fan appreciation.
Right.
Fireworks, and it was amazing.
And something I've never seen before, especially after a regular season game of any kind, clinching or whatever. The whole team comes back out on the
clinching like DK Metcalf.
Yeah. The whole team comes back out on the field and the manager addresses the fans with a microphone.
Yeah.
It was like a freaking movie, man.
After they went into the locker room and
did they show on the screen?
Yes, they were showing on the screen as they're spraying champagne everywhere with their ski goggles on. they all came back out and were partying on the field and service. They were doing some interviews that were absolutely impossible to hear. But then service talk. If you're watching this and you have not watched Service's speech, go watch it. It's awesome.
It's really good.
It's on the Mariners YouTube.
And then he totally like dads it at the end. Let's go party! It was great.
I think he said that we're not done yet.
Yeah.
We're just getting started, but for tonight, let's party.
Let's party. He's a good coach.
He's
a really good coach.
He is very lovable.
Yep.
Do you guys have any more like gushing that you'd like to do about this Mariners team?
If you also have not watched the highlight of Cal Raleigh hitting it, go watch it.
Yeah. His face.
There may be his face is incredible.
Yeah.
Watch it. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And the one where he's running around the bases and it cuts away from him at the wrong. I hate that it cut away from him because his face is like running around like, is this real life?
Yeah.
And then right when it cuts away from him, he's literally, as he's running around the bases, he's putting his hands up to his helmet, to his head going like, is this really happening? It was so perfect.
Probably felt like a dream.
Yeah,
You
seriously.
probably should check for more. I feel like I've seen a cut that follows him all the way around the bases.
Just follows him the whole way? I hope
I'm
so.
pretty sure that's there.
I'm gonna try and find it. You try and find it.
So
We'll both try and find it.
So if we've gushed sufficiently,
we haven't.
I hate to do it.
Uh-oh.
I'm gonna be that guy.
Oh no.
Feel free to boo me if you want.
Boo!
You're gonna win about the same amount of games you did last year. You're gonna win an amount of games that you've probably won 4 or 5 times throughout this streak.
Oh, you're
89,
saying
90.
that this is only happening because the extra
You're
spot?
only winning because there's extra spots in the playoffs. I don't know, what level of real celebration is appropriate for this accomplishment.
So that could be true, but there's a few games left.
Yeah, they're
and
like
they
game
have
and a half back, I think. But they're losing today.
They're losing. Yeah, they're down today. But also, when you look at the schedule, they definitely have the easiest schedule. Like the other two teams they're chasing,
it's Tigers and A's, I think, or what's left on the schedule.
Yeah, and the Blue Jays and Tampa play against really hard teams or pretty hard teams. So save your poo-pooing for when it's time for poo-pooing.
Well, how about
right now? It's time for celebration.
The Mariners have been
We've had enough poop already on this show today.
They've been playing generally poorly lately with all the injuries and everything, and they're losing 6-0 to the A's right now.
Yeah. So they've already won this series, though. It's baseball, man. They've won 4 games in a row. You can't be like, they're losing today.
Also, the Blue Jays beat the Rays, which puts them. Even if they lose today, they made progress towards the second wild card.
Did you say the Blue Jays beat the Rays?
Yes,
dude. So that brings up the next.
I thought the Blue Jays was who we were chasing. Did I get that wrong?
Yeah, but we're also the Rays are in the race
We want
too.
to tie the Blue Jays because the Rays are ahead of them, and we don't have the tiebreaker with the Rays. We have a tiebreaker over the Blue Jays.
At the moment, 2 games over the Rays, 2 games behind the Blue Jays.
And see, that's
okay. Never mind. But we're never mind what I was saying about the Rays then.
But this is where the discussion comes in. Would you rather have the 3rd or the 2nd wild card spot? Because I think I'd rather play Cleveland than Toronto.
Because you're going to be on the road anyway,
Yeah.
unless you can make up 2 games and get above Toronto for the second.
Exactly.
The first wild card spot. Wild card spot.
There you go.
Thank you.
Ward spot.
Well said by
I'll
me.
be honest. I want the second wild card spot over the 3rd wild card spot just to shut people like Justin up.
But even then, for most of history, there's only been 1 wild card spot.
Doesn't matter. It will be far easier to shut them up if you can be like, they didn't get the last wild card
You think
spot.
I will
Shut up.
ever shut up?
Oh yeah, you will definitely shut up.
Make me. Oh wait, you've got mute. Never mind. Don't.
All right, Daniel.
I think you muted me.
No,
You muted me.
whoops. There we go.
What I was saying
Problem
is
solved.
the Mariners not as good. Oh,
You're back.
Anyway.
did I bring down the room?
No,
I
you
believe
didn't.
It. I feel like
Because,
We're
again,
united in hatred.
that discussion can come when the season ends.
True.
They still have a shot at it. And yet again, it's also weird because you either want them to, for me, I want them to win that first one or the 3rd one, because if you get to the first one, you get home games. If you get the third one, you take on the Indians or Guardians. Are we going to get canceled?
Yep. We already are. We're live. Canceled.
Take on the Guardians and then the Yankees instead of the Astros. So
I
weird.
won't say you're wrong to root for that, but personally, I'm just rooting for as high as they can get.
I get that.
Because I'm not looking past that.
Now that we're the thing is, we've clinched.
We have?
We have. Are you gonna?
No.
Okay. I'm not seeing it on the show sheet here. Do we have your favorite part of the show?
It's in the local sports today.
What?
It's going to be fun.
No.
Yeah. But if you guys are done with Mariners, then we do have some Seahawks to talk about. But first, we're going to take a quick commercial break. Do you have a legal situation and need someone on your... Let the law office of Jeffrey A. Damashevitz be your advocate. If you've been the victim of medical malpractice, suffered a personal injury, or need representation with real estate law, small business law, or estate planning, let Jeff Damashevitz put his 29 years of experience to work for you. Call Jeff Damashevitz today at 360-612-3991 or visit damashevitzlaw.com. That's DAMASIEWICZLAW.com. Dude. What does that gun do?
It shoots salt.
Daniel's trying to shoot people here.
Did I get you?
Yes.
You did shoot someone. Why are you shooting salt at Andrew's feet?
I just turned around and saw the shout.
You saw
That
Shart?
serves me right for leaving a gun around within reach of a toddler.
That reminds me of when my wife and I are watching a show. Every time that thing pops up at the beginning that says, this production is intended for mature audiences only, I do the dad joke thing and go, guess I can't watch it.
Every time, don't you?
Basically.
You do it every time.
Basically, yeah. Unless, I forget.
All right. Seahawks. Today was a weird game.
Weird.
So weird. Gino
Look good.
looked like Pro Bowler, speaking of the Pro Bowl conversation we were having, as he went 23 for 30, 320 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks, for a rating of 132.6. Also, I wish I would have had him on my fantasy team because he scored what this says is an average of 31 points, depending on what league you have.
I should probably pick him up. Tom Brady has not been doing well for me.
Neither has Carson Wentz.
Yeah.
So that was a bad job by me. I also didn't start Rashad Penny, and Rashad Penny went off.
Yeah, he did.
151 yards on 17 carries for 2 touchdowns.
The Geno Smith experience has been really interesting this year because starting off, he had 2 great quarters.
Yeah.
And then he was pretty bad for 6 quarters. And now the last 2 games, he's again been good.
Has he been good? Because in the Atlanta game, they did nothing again in the second half.
True.
But, I mean, all you need to do is play Detroit, apparently, to get healthy for your second half stats because they just kept putting up points. I was worried about it, actually, because they've been good in first halves of games for a lot of this year, except for the San Francisco game, right? They've been good in the first half and then just been terrible in the second half. And honestly, that's something we saw in the first half of the last season with Russell Wilson and Shane Waldron, is they'd come out like a house on fire the first 2 drives, and then it'd be nothing after that. So I don't know what it is. Is it a Shane Waldron thing where, like, teams adjust and he doesn't know how to counter? But besides the Lions, they get in the second half and they can't do anything. Like, it's been a little weird because especially the Seahawks before that were always do nothing in the first half and then do everything in the second half.
In the Falcons game, Geno in total was 32 for 44 with 325 yards, 2 tutties, and a pick.
Yeah, but how many points did they score in the second half?
Oh, I wasn't trying to counter your point. I was just throwing the stats.
Okay, you were just adding to it?
Yeah,
I was like, well, that doesn't prove me wrong at all.
It doesn't prove anything. Okay. I had not intended to prove you wrong.
When you look at the defense that just got absolutely rolled over by the Lions, who didn't have their top running back or their top receiver, by the way, which is... That's not good.
I really only knew that off the top of my head because I have Smith in... Is it Smith? Yeah, Smith.
Swift.
Swift, thank you. I've gone Swift on my fantasy team, and so I had to find a backup to play.
Yeah.
But I'm on Raw.
Dude,
Saint
that sounds
Brown.
like an Egyptian god.
Yeah, no, well, I think he is named after the Egyptian
Okay,
god.
gotcha. Okay.
But he's been amazing for them, and he's also out.
Yeah. And yet they still put up 45 points. Tariq Woolen, though, I think he's going to be really good. Like, he is long, he is fast, he has ball skills, bills.
He might have he might have the not intelligence. Intelligence is the wrong word. The instincts also. That's the thing that I've been hearing people talk about. I can't say that I can see that or anything, but that's the thing I've been hearing people talk about, where if he has his body and actually has instincts somewhat akin to Sherman's.
Oh. Well, if it was somewhat
Sherman
akin
had
to him.
his body, Sherman would be in the Hall of Fame. Like, he would have been the first player they would put in the Hall of Fame before he retired.
Seriously.
Because Sherman was literally compensating for the fact that he wasn't fast.
Yeah.
He's not pretty fast. He's pretty slow for covering receivers.
Yeah. And Woolen is a, 4.27?
I don't remember. I don't know. But
It's insane.
He's real fast.
He's real fast. So I'm excited about him, but the defense overall, goodness gracious, it's gross.
Cody
It's
Barton.
good.
Barton is bad.
Barton decided.
And how they didn't learn that from his first 3 seasons?
Yeah.
Because he's had time to fill in and play the linebacker position before, and he didn't look good then.
He went up and tried to tackle Hawkinson high and just push him out of bounds, not realizing that guy was stronger than him.
Yeah.
So he was like, nope, get out of my way, and then just kept going.
Yeah.
And then there was a play which I saw a video of. It was a goal line score in which Barton was, I'm assuming, was supposed to be shooting this gap, went the completely wrong way, and then made a move like, oops, my bad. It was really, the fact that he didn't fill that gap was astonishing, and then the runner ran right through it for a touchdown.
Dude, he's not good.
Not good.
And it seems weird that they've gone to a 3-4 this year in the first year in a while. In the first year for how many years where they don't have 2 guys who would be stud middle linebackers? For how many years did they have either KJ and Bobby, who both could have been ridiculous middle linebackers at the same time? And then the next year they have Bobby and Jordan Brooks, who both could play middle linebacker awesome. And then the first year where they don't have that personnel, they're like, you know what we should do? We should have 2 middle linebackers, but one of them sucks.
Solid plan. Let's have 2 middle
Sounds good.
linebackers, but one of them
Sell
sucks.
me on it.
Pete's like, okay. I like where you're going with here. What is going on? It's bizarre. I don't know.
I mean, Cody Barton has a sack, and Jordan Brooks doesn't. So there's that.
They did win. They won, and it was a crazy game. It was a lot of fun.
Another scoregami.
Yeah.
Scoregami.
So you said scoregami, and I was like, what is that? And then thankfully you guys followed up with the tweets that I could figure it out. But
basically it's just a unique score. How many different times has this score happened? And there is actually a Twitter account that will tweet out after every game, no scoregami this game, no scoregami this game, almost scoregami this game, but then this happened. Or, well, you might think this is scoregami, but it's happened 3 times in history. So it makes it, when it's actually scoregami, is kind of exciting.
Gotcha.
Which is really dumb.
So this means it is really dumb. But this means that the final score of 48-45 has never happened before.
Has never happened before.
That's crazy.
I just found a tweet with video of DK Metcalf riding the car up the field to go to the bathroom.
Do you see his face?
You have to
he looks stressed out.
Dude, you have to send it to us. I'm telling you, he had some of that Detroit sushi, man.
TSN, is that the Canadian Sports Center? I don't know. TSN tweeted, DK Metcalf got carted off the field to use the bathroom. King energy.
See, and that's why, I didn't feel like watching that, like, oh, that's a guy who's like, I must go to the bathroom. You must take me with the cart. I felt the look on his face was a guy that was, if I take another step, it's coming out. And if I sit on the cart, I can clench my cheeks. That's the impression that I got from watching it.
Move over, Cal. There's another big dumper in town.
Big dumper in town.
Oh my gosh. The Seahawks scored on 7 of 9 possessions and obviously didn't try and score on the last one, so effectively 7 of 8 possessions.
What happened on the other one? Was it a field goal?
Was it a missed field goal?
I thought I remembered.
There was another time where they missed a field goal.
I thought I saw something that said that they didn't have any punts. Did they have any punts in this game?
Not that I saw.
Because I wasn't super paying attention to the game because I was trying to do show prep, and it was the only time I had to get ready for the show.
Ty France just broke up the no-hitter, so we're moving in the right direction.
There we go.
Still 6-0.
Yeah, but
it's
stop? Not a no-hitter.
Russell Wilson is 11 for 12 for 149 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Oh,
good.
And they're down 16-19.
Let's ride.
Let's ride.
Broncos country.
Let's ride.
Let's ride.
That will never stop.
Did they get a
being
safety?
Really funny.
We may have exhausted the amount of Seahawks talk that we're not going to do the thing where we talk about Russ for 15 minutes this week.
They missed an extra point.
Well, he hasn't finished playing yet, so we don't know if we don't know what to say about him yet.
Good
Oh,
point.
it's just interesting. I thought that was a very interesting stat line. They're in the third quarter. He's 11 of 12. He's only
thrown 12 times.
He's only thrown 12 times. That's interesting. He only has 1 incompletion, and they're down 19-16. Your boy, oh gosh, I forget his first name. Javonte is averaging just 2.8 a carry.
What if the conflict between Wilson and Pete was that Pete wanted to throw more and Russell was like, no, we just need to keep doing what's working. I know that isn't it, but
that'd be good. All right, I think that's gonna do it for our Seahawks talk. Do we have any other?
So instead of let Russ cook, that would be like let Russ watch Food Network, like let Russ watch other people cook. Anyway,
let Russ eat. That's what that would have been.
Oh, that would be a good one.
Yeah,
that would have been a good competing hashtag at that time.
Eat the ball.
Yeah. Well, I think that we can move on.
Yeah.
So if you're with us on the live YouTube, stay where you are, because we're going to do our local sports pod on the other side of a brief intermission. But this is it for the Northwest version of our podcast, which is brought to you by Ole Penn Real Estate and the Law Office of Jeffrey A. Domashevitz. So for my co-host, Daniel, well, that doesn't prove me wrong, Hargrove.
And for my co-host, Justin, our very own big dumper, Domashevitz.
And our producer, 3 big dumpers. And our producer, Andrew, bear hugged a stranger, gross. That is gross. Bear hug strangers.
You've been listening to the scrimmage.
You're listening to The Scrimmage with Daniel Hargrove and Justin Domashevitz.
Who saw Hoquiam upsetting Elma? I didn't. I wish I could have.
No, but you did suffer a massive injustice this
I
week.
did. Yeah, I had more hope than anybody else. That's for sure.
Most of us picked Elma as our lock of the week.
Yes.
Daniel actually picked Raymond South Bend.
Did they win even?
Yeah.
Oh,
But
yes!
whoever made the graphic, whoever made the graphic made a mistake and accidentally put
on this side of
Daniel's lock as Elma.
This guy made the graphic.
Yes, I did. I failed. I felt really bad too because there's a little emotional connection there with Daniel and Hoquiam. So I know that he was like, I'm going to do the thing where I have a little faith in Hoquiam to pull off an upset. I'm going to pick a different lock.
Exactly.
Even though it was against almost everybody else. And then, whoever made the graphic.
Whoever it was.
Disregarded that and was like, almost everybody's lock. Except Andrew, who picked Monty, which was also right. So most of us got our lock wrong.
Yes.
Wait, I got my lock right?
Yep.
Yeah. You picked Monty as your lock. Woo! Daniel actually had a really good week in the pick'em.
Yeah.
Because most of us picked Morton White Pass over PL Willapa Valley, and PL Willapa Valley destroyed Morton
Killed
White Pass.
him.
Who could have seen it coming?
We'll get to more of that in the local sports roundup. We're actually going to start in a different way than we normally do.
Oh.
This local sports podcast starts with my favorite part of the show.
Oh, no.
Serving questions up on a silver platter where the points are made up and the rules don't matter. Time for Stump Daniel.
Ooh.
I harmonized.
Was there some harmonized
It was
there?
a really bad one. I think I was flat. I'll ask Angel later. Here's what we're going
Angel,
to do.
if you're watching, let us know in the stream. Is she watching? Have we seen any comments yet?
We don't have any comments.
Not even our wives are watching.
You know
this
what?
week.
To be honest, guys,
It's
I
nice
feel
outside.
I feel like the decision to go head for head up against the second window of NFL football is going to make it tough to get live viewers.
What game worth watching is going on?
Broncos Raiders, man. Russell Wilson.
This is where I feel like there might be a discrepancy between us and a lot of football fans. I know a lot of people who just literally watch 10 hours of football on Sundays.
Honestly,
they don't care what teams they are; they just watch everything.
Honestly, the biggest regret I have for doing this podcast is that it makes it so that I can't just dedicate my Sunday to 10 hours.
I have way
Red
more
Zone.
regrets than that.
Oh. No.
We'll get into some of those later.
Just regrets about the show.
But for now, okay, we're going to play a game called Name That High School's Mascot.
Ooh, I
Daniel,
like this one.
I feel like this might be one that's right up your alley.
Like the name, like do they have like like Tony the Tiger?
No,
or
no,
is
no.
it okay, good.
Just that I'm going to give you the high school.
Okay.
You're going to tell me what
You
their
have to know
mascot
who
is.
is playing the mascot this
Not
year, Daniel.
not the guy in the costume.
Well, I wasn't thinking guy in the costume, but you know how like the Beavers, it's Benny Beaver.
I did not know
We
that.
did not.
It's Benny Beaver.
What about the troll that the Kraken have?
Oh my gosh, what was a Bowie? Bowie the troll.
Why couldn't he be Bowie the Kraken?
Why isn't he a Kraken?
Wait,
Your team's
settle
the
down.
Kraken!
Settle down. And for a second, try to put a person into a Kraken suit.
Yeah.
And then realize that makes no sense at all
Robotic
because a
arms,
Kraken
bro!
is a giant squid-shaped creature.
I don't
Yes.
see the problem.
So that's why they went with a troll. Also, a troll has a Seattle connection because of the troll under the bridge.
I get that. Cool.
Wait. What's the troll under the bridge connection?
There's a giant troll under one of
Is it
Seattle's
Mon-
bridges.
I don't remember where it is.
Oh.
Fremont.
Fremont.
The Fremont troll is a big sculpture up in Seattle.
If I'm being honest, I hate Seattle.
I mean,
so I
the
don't give a-
Supersonics had a Sasquatch. Yes, there's a connection to the Pacific Northwest. Was it? But did that make sense?
Sasquatch was
No,
cool.
the Mariners have a moose.
Also
There's-
doesn't make sense at all.
Not really, because I mean, there might be a moose that dips down into Washington in the northeast corner
there's
every now and then.
moose. There are moose in Washington, but
Yeah,
it makes
but
no
not around
sense
in
with the
Seattle.
Mariners.
Meese?
Yeah.
Mooses?
Why don't you have a sailor or something?
There are moose in the Cascades.
Is
though.
moose
Like,
plural?
it's-
Really?
Yes,
Is moose
it's a
plural
thing.
of
There,
moose?
there are not a lot, but they are there.
Moose is plural of moose?
Meese.
Meese.
Meese? Is that real?
No, it's not real.
Getting back to the Stump Daniel game. Okay, there's a lot of rules.
Okay. Good. It wouldn't be Stump Daniel without it. Let's do it.
I have 4 different sections of 3 different schools. Each one has a point value between 1 and 3.
Are we going out of the area at all?
Yes.
Oh.
A lot, actually. Your
Give me
total
those Christian schools.
your total possible points is 24.
Okay.
You will be allowed 4 lifelines
Ooh.
if you choose to use them.
All right.
Your first lifeline is phone a friend. Your second
Whoa.
although your phone might not work here. Your second.
I'm gonna get Ian on speed dial
Okay.
real quick. I gotta get Ian on speed dial in case I need it.
You might want to use a data-based messenger to contact people.
I think
Facebook
I'm on the
Messenger.
network that you have an extender for, so I'm good.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Your second lifeline
'Kay.
is animal or not.
Okay.
Where it's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah.
Your third lifeline is what's the first letter?
Okay. I like this.
You can actually double these up too if you want to.
Cool.
You could use
yeah.
all of them on one.
Do they affect my score?
No.
Okay, cool.
And
So he gets 4 lifelines.
Yep.
Each lifeline could be any one of these categories of lifeline?
Yes.
Okay.
and you could use all 4 of them on one
Oh, wait.
question if you want to.
Category. Oh, on one question. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
But I only get
wait.
one of each, right?
You
One
only
of
get
each.
one of each
Okay.
category.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm glad we talked
I
this out. 'cause
misinterpreted
The rules
that.
are a bit complicated. You get one of each lifeline. So once you use it, you can't use it again, but you
Okay.
can use multiple lifelines for one question.
Got it. Got it.
Your fourth lifeline is 15 seconds of Google.
Okay.
Better
Okay.
pull up Google.
I gotta have Google on speed dial too.
All right, so you got those, and I'm going to tell you what the different zones are.
Okay.
If you score 5 points or less, you're in the Duck zone.
Oh.
6 to 10 is the Husky zone.
Okay.
11 to 19 is the Coug zone.
Nice.
And if you
nice.
want to get into the coveted Beav zone, 20 or more.
Why would you penalize him for doing well?
No, the Beav zone is a good place to be. Everyone wants to get into the Beaver zone.
Everybody wants to get in the Beaver zone. All right.
You ready?
I'm ready. This sounds fun.
Here's your first one. This
All right.
is worth 1 point.
Oh.
Ocosta, Daniel. What is Ocosta's?
Wildcats.
Ocosta Wildcats, 1 point. Woo! Right off the bat. Number 2, Daniel. Napavine. What is Napavine's mascot?
Tigers.
Final answer?
Yes.
That is correct.
Woo! You said final answer just because I looked squeamish, didn't
Yeah,
you?
you did, I did. Okay, here's another one. This is a tough one. This is your 3.1 for this section.
Okay.
PL. What is
Wait.
PL's mascot? Not the combo. When PL plays a sport on their own, which they do. What is the PL mascot? This is a 3-pointer. You can use a lifeline. You have phone a friend.
Okay,
animal
so
or
it's,
not.
So
What's
it's the Willapa Valley Vikings. It's the PL Willapa Valley Titans. Adna is the Pirates.
You're getting all the ones around it.
I just drove through there.
It's going to be exciting when later he answers one of the ones he just said wrong.
Shut up. PL. Okay, Vikings, the Titans. Who would the other team be? PL would be the. All right, I'm gonna take a risk. I'm gonna phone a friend.
Okay.
The risk is that I don't know if somebody's gonna answer.
Yeah, that is the
randomly when
risk. Yeah, you get to phone one friend, and if they don't answer...
So I'm calling Ian.
Okay. Let's see if Ian answers. This is going to be good. Ian Cope, by the way, the voice of Grays Harbor High School sports, is being bombarded and put on the phone, possibly without any warning that he's live.
Definitely no warning.
Uh-oh.
I did not warn him.
We're
Oh,
at
no.
3 rings.
Oh no! If he doesn't answer, can I call a different friend?
Sure. 2 chances on phone a friend.
You know, he's just gonna call me back during the show at some point.
Probably, but you're not allowed to answer.
Oh, did he answer? Ian?
I can't come to the phone right now.
No! Voicemail! No!
You should call somebody you know who lives in Pacific County. I bet they'd be able to tell you.
I don't know anybody that well who lives in Pacific County.
You want me to give you Ryan's number?
Oh.
Does that count as a friend?
Oh, I just got that's totally makes sense. So I had a friend text it to me.
Okay.
Does that count?
Yes. Who
Okay.
texted it to you?
Francis.
Okay, I will allow that. It
Okay.
will cost you your phone a friend privilege.
Okay.
But what is it?
It is the Trojans.
It is correct. It is the Trojans.
Yes, thank you, Francis.
Francis, coming up clutch.
You know-
Daniel, I am happy to announce you are already out of the duck zone.
Yes.
You are a perfect 3 for 3.
So I drove through there because I took that way home from work recently, and I go through Adna and PL, and I remember thinking, oh, Trojans, Vikings, Titans, and for some reason it made sense, and I could not remember
I'm not
that
sure
just
why.
now. I don't know why.
Trojans and Vikings are very different from Titans.
They are, but I don't know why it made sense. In my brain, for some reason, I went, oh.
Brains. What's that like?
All right. Thank you, Francis.
Next
Don't
section.
give me any others because I don't want to get penalized.
Francis also says that you were very flat.
Thank you, Francis.
Okay.
That means I was probably sharp.
I'm a little bummed that I did not get Trojans by myself. But all right, let's go.
Daniel's
you've only-
wife says that it sounded like the harmony had a lot of potential. So she's being positive.
well,
as
she's
usual.
a very sweet and kind person.
Yes.
Also, my wife says she's listening.
Oh, sweet. So we have wives
Did
listening.
she say
Good.
whether or not I was flat?
She did not.
Hannah, can you please let me know whether I was flat? All right, you ready for your next chunk?
Yes.
Lyndon Christian, Daniel.
I knew you were going to bring them up, and I'm glad and also mad that you did. It is the Lynx.
That is true.
Spelled incorrectly.
You have 7 points already. Here's the next one.
It is Lync.
Yeah.
And isn't the animal Lynx?
Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
usually.
Yeah.
Oh.
Royal, Daniel. What's Royal? It's another 1A school. We see him in the playoffs a lot. What is Royal's mascot?
I'm going to go with my first instinct here. I almost finished it as you said it. I'm going to say the Royal Knights.
That is correct. Yeah! 2 more points for Daniel. You are up to 9.
Woo!
Now I'm going to give you your 3-pointer. This one's a lot tougher.
Okay.
Freeman.
Dog. Yeah.
Which is I went
a
through
little
all
terrier.
of these. I went through all of these with my son Peyton earlier, and when I told him it's the Freeman Scotties, he said that's lame.
He's a bulldog.
Accurate. Well, a bulldog is at least a more immovable dog than a Scotty.
True. Still just a
I
dog.
actually also.
It is a Scotty
Hey,
Dogs, though.
if you're
for
from
sure.
Montesano, plug your ears for a second.
Uh-oh.
Bulldogs is a lame mascot. Okay, moving on to our third section.
If you're from around here,
If you're
so
from-
are
if you're a
Bobcats,
Georgia
Grizzlies,
fan.
and Eagles. I like more unique mascots. So like the Wishkal Loggers, great mascot.
Okay,
The Quinault Elks, great mascot. The Chitwins, love it.
love it.
We have very general, basic mascots
The
around
chit
here.
one is a black bear, right?
I think so,
I
but it's a
believe-
cool
I
way
believe
of
it
saying
is.
black.
No, I mean,
agree.
honestly,
I was just
North Beach Hyaks is a really cool mascot.
That's a great
too.
one.
It has something
Yeah.
like the translation is something about being really fast.
Okay,
Yeah, so it's kind of a cool.
gotcha.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway, third section, 1-pointer.
Okay.
Rochester, Daniel. What's Rochester's mascot?
The Warriors.
That is correct. 13 points already, which puts you. You're in the kook zone.
Yes.
Here's your 2-pointer.
Sorry, that was a very bad way of doing their sound effect that they always do at the football games.
We've already done Lyndon Christian, Daniel. What is Lyndon?
Ooh.
Lyndon High School.
Oh, come on. I saw them at the state tournament last year.
You still have 3 lifelines. Lifelines?
Limes?
Life lemons. Animal or not. What's the first letter or 15 seconds of Google? Which I'm assuming you want to save the 15 seconds of Google for a 3-pointer. But you're perfect so far.
So I'm 75% certain on this one.
Okay?
But is that enough?
I don't
Do
know.
I
'cause
risk it?
You've gotten so far through this. There are 4 sections of 3. So after this,
I
you
feel
only have
like-
4 left, and you still have 3 lifelines.
I feel like use them or lose them, right? But I also feel like I'm fairly certain that it's an animal, and I'm fairly certain that it starts with L.
Okay?
But I don't want to waste 15 seconds of Google.
Okay. So you want to use one of those lifelines? If you think you know what it is, but you need confirmation, it might be worth using one of those lifelines.
I saw him at the state tournament because freaking Lyndon and Lyndon Christian took like 3 out of the 4 state championships at the tournament I was at last year.
Yeah. Lovely town. Hate the sports teams.
Yes. Are they a lovely town?
Lyndon's kind of cool.
Daniel has
Probably.
trouble separating the
Yeah.
sports teams from the town.
Okay, Justin, is it an animal?
It is an animal.
Okay, I'm going to go with the Lyndon Lions.
The Lyndon Lions is correct.
Yes!
You remain perfect. 15 points. Here's your 3-pointer from this section.
Francis said it was the Gentiles.
It is not. Also, Francis, you better stop. You're going to get Daniel disqualified.
Daniel probably shouldn't be allowed to look at his phone during the rest of this segment.
I trust him.
Okay.
R.A. Long, Daniel. What is R.A. Long's mascot? Which, as I went through this with Peyton, he said, Dad, honestly, I just found out R.A. Long was a school about 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
Okay, so let's run down the schools down there. You got Kelso, the Highlanders. Mm-hmm. You got R.A. Long, and you have the Mark Morris Monarchs. Which, if you know Mark Morris, the name totally fits for them. Both as a monarch and also the Monarchs. If you remember that show reference. R.A. Long is the... You know what? Just to double check here, because I think I know, but I'm going to ask for what letter does it start with?
What's the first letter? Lifeline has officially been used, and the first letter is L.
Lumberjacks.
That is correct. 3 more points for Daniel. You are at 18, just 2 points shy of the Beav zone.
Let's go.
But you're well on your way to being perfect.
Okay.
You still have 1 lifeline left. It's 15 seconds of Google.
Okay. How many questions do I have left?
3.
Oh, I probably shouldn't have used one on that one. I
I
thought I had less questions left.
You're going to get this one.
Whoops.
My wife, who works at a vet's clinic, says, have you ever tried to actually deal with a terrier? I'll take a bulldog any day.
Really?
So,
Good to know.
Montesano called out.
Thank you for your expert opinion on that, Hannah. I value that.
I was just going to start naming off other mascots, but I'm going to wait in case they're ones that you're about to mention.
1 pointer, Daniel. Ridgefield. What is Ridgefield's mascot?
The Spudders.
The Spudders, which is a potato mascot.
Spudders. That's great.
It's a funny mascot. It's one of the best. Also, I didn't know that Washington is the number 2 state in the country in terms of potato production, which is why Ridgefield is called the Spudders.
I'm assuming behind Idaho?
Yes.
Okay.
Behind Idaho.
Daniel's like, my world's still right side up, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, Daniel, you've only got 2 left and 5 potential points.
Okay.
You only need to get 1 of these to get into the Beef zone.
Let's
so
go.
honestly, with 15 seconds of Google, you're in a pretty good spot.
I'm in a
But
good
also,
spot.
You want to be perfect.
If the internet holds up.
And I think you're going to get this one.
Yeah.
I think you're going to get this one.
Okay.
Shelton, Daniel. What is Shelton's mascot? The Montesano Bulldogs just played them, and in fact,
You know what's funny?
it's in the show sheet.
You know what's funny is I actually, as you said, we're going to do mascots.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, Monty just played Shelton.
Yep.
I can never remember Shelton's mascot.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
So for some reason, I want to say it's similar to Camus,
Which is?
the paper makers.
Okay.
So I want to say it's a unique one. But the 3-pointer is technically supposed to be harder. But for some reason, I can never remember Shelton.
I promise you the 3-pointer is harder. It is not only a mascot, but it's also a school I've never heard of.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
I have a guess for Shelton that's just off the top of my head if Daniel has no idea.
Okay.
For later.
Okay.
Just on the off chance I can make him feel worse.
Should we add an Ask a Producer
No.
lifeline?
No. That's against
he
the
doesn't
rules.
want
I
Trust
didn't
me.
put Ask a Producer lifeline in here because I thought you would know these way better than Andrew would.
I am going to
He has.
I'm
He
gonna
definitely has.
I'm going to disregard Francis's answer, which was the Powder Monkeys.
It is the Powder Monkeys. How did he know that?
I should know Shelton. Wait.
He
Wait.
doesn't even a little bit.
He's
fooled
got
by you.
Daniel just had an epiphany.
He's not even a little bit fooled by
No.
your powder monkey.
No.
Powder monkeys would be a great mascot.
If I ever start a high
What's a
school,
powder
I'm calling them the Powder Monkeys.
I think a powder monkey is the person responsible for the blasting equipment in a mining operation.
Definitely.
Really? That makes sense. That would be an
I
awesome...
just agreed with Andrew because he's right almost all the time.
Right?
but I
Especially
have
on random
no-
crap like that.
I have no idea.
Okay, so...
Remember when I told you the Eatonville Cruisers was a train reference?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it?
No.
Yeah, it wasn't.
No, it's a logging.
Yeah. I'm going to think that... Okay, so a name popped into my head.
Okay.
It's logging it's also a logging reference.
Okay.
Which makes sense is why I would tie it to Camus.
Okay.
A little bit, not too much now that I think about it, but I mean a little bit.
Okay.
High climbers.
Well, Daniel, that is correct.
Yes!
Shelton is the high climbers.
Oh, how did that
Which-
pop into my head?
That
For
was
the-
my guess.
For the was it?
Yeah, it
Okay.
was.
For the uninitiated, the high climber in logging, before there was all this fancy equipment, was the guy who would climb up the tree and
Yep.
cut all the branches off all the way to the top.
And
Yep.
you needed
and probably the top too.
You needed a tree with the branches cut off so that you could rig it up with pulleys and stuff to pull all the rest of the trees to the landing.
Exactly. Daniel, you are perfect, and you still have 15 seconds of Google. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm a bad typer, but I tried to Google this answer quickly and easily in 15 seconds, and it's kind of tight.
Okay.
But we're going to do a phone down when 15 seconds happens.
Okay. And I'm putting my phone. I have it on Google, but it is just so you can see. That's all it's on. It's just on Google.
Okay.
And the random thing below it says, for some reason I get the spun highlights. And it's like NFL World reacts to Aaron Andrews, big personal news. Those are the worst headlines. They never turn out to be interesting.
I
Anyway,
thought you'd do well at this. You've done so much better than I anticipated.
dude, this has been awesome. I love this game.
You have
It's
one
kind of a
lifeline
defeat
left.
for Justin.
And we didn't even get to the owls of Merriam Knight.
What about Oakville?
The acorns.
You are good.
You
at this
did
game.
mention Camus, right?
Camus,
that's,
paper
That's my
makers.
favorite.
Yeah.
Paper makers are my favorite.
Okay, are you ready, Daniel? I'm going to give you the name, and I'm going to count 15 seconds.
Well, remember, I get to choose after thinking about it for a while if I want to use
I'm
the
not
lifeline.
counting 15 seconds from the time I give you
Okay.
the name. The
Okay.
15 seconds is Google only.
Okay, cool.
So with the 15 seconds will be the amount of time you have your phone in your hand.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, here's the school. Pateros.
What?
Pateros. It is a 1B school in Central Washington.
Ooh, you gave him that for free. I was gonna ask if you were allowed to
Pateros?
talk about it.
Pateros. Pateros.
Oh yeah, Pateros. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, your 15 seconds starts in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. 10,
Oh no, I misspelled mascot.
5,
Oh, somebody's calling me.
2,
Ian, not now.
0.
No.
Down. Ian, if you did that on purpose, I'm so proud.
So I did right before all that happened. An image popped up.
Okay.
You know how Google pops up like the
Yep.
images?
Yep.
So I have a guess.
Okay, give me the guess.
Off of that one image, who knows if that's right? Because like I said, I typed in Pateros correctly, and then when I typed mascot, I fat fingered it and went mascot.
We have multiple answers on the YouTube.
Okay, let Daniel
Okay.
give his
Chat
first,
already.
and then we'll go to the chat.
Yellow Jackets.
Okay, what does the chat say?
The chat, two of our watchers, one of which is my wife, says that it's the Billy Goats.
Okay, that is so randomly specific. Why would she know that?
She's really smart.
Yeah, I know she's smart, but you still have to have seen the Pateros Billy Goats play.
Billy Goats is correct.
Are you serious? What the heck? How the heck does Hannah know that?
Daniel?
Where is Pateros?
It's a random 1B school I've never heard of in Central Washington.
Central Washington's a big place. Where in Central Washington?
The middle of Washington. I actually don't know.
I'll find out.
So this is what popped up on it was a Scorebook Live link.
Yeah.
And it's
Is there a Pateros in other states, maybe?
I don't know. So I said Pateros.
Yeah.
And if I wouldn't have messed up my typing, I would have been able to click on the WIAA link.
Yeah.
Which I do that, and there's the Billy Goats.
Yeah. But that's why 15 seconds of Google is so hard. Because if you stumble even a little bit,
You're
because
hosed.
I tested this at home, and I started with 10 seconds of Google, and I was like, I tried it, and I
Impossible.
was like, that's not reasonable.
Oh, are you kidding me? Look what happens if you scroll down literally one picture. It's a billy goat. Ian's calling me. Ian, I was calling you as a phone a friend on our show for Stump Daniel. You there? I can't hear him. Hello?
Bad service out here.
It's not great service out here.
Hi, Ian.
Oh, well. It
Daniel.
literally one scroll. What are
Yeah.
these images for?
Daniel.
These are terrible images.
Yeah.
One scroll down and it's
Listen, Daniel, I know that you're upset that you weren't perfect.
I wouldn't-
You were firmly in the beef zone.
okay, I'll take it.
Okay.
Daniel, Pateros is north of Chelan.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
It's kind of eastern, though. That's not really central, is it? Isn't
It
Chelan
is-
pretty far east?
It is.
Isn't
Oh, no,
Chelan-
it's pretty central.
Chelan's,
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Spokane is east.
Okay. Okay.
It's east of the mountains, but it's very central, and it's north central.
The Billy Goats.
Well, I think in general people will be impressed by your mascot knowledge, and it was a good showing.
Dude,
21 points out of
I'm-
a possible 24. Beef zone.
I'm impressed that you found a school that neither of us had ever heard of. But also, how the heck does your wife know that?
Did she Google it? Did she
It's
use 15
possible.
seconds of Google?
I don't know.
Maybe she's just faster than I am.
Well, that was a long segment, and I'm sorry, but it was really fun.
That was a lot of
So
fun.
let's move on to our next segment.
Clarence says that he knew it because Toll has played them a few times.
That would make sense because Tahola is also a 1B school.
Yep.
So
All right, well, without further ado, let's get to the local sports roundup. Aberdeen improved to 3-2 on the season with a big 24-14 win over Black Hills and Stewart Field on Friday. Wearing the retro jerseys, by the way, that was pretty sweet.
pretty cool.
That was pretty cool. Aiden Watkins stole the show on offense for the Bobcats, rushing for 199 yards on two touchdowns. Watkins also caught 2 passes for 25 yards, including for 302 yards as a team to just round Black Hills, the Wolves, by the way, into the turf.
Yeah, just as a side note, in addition to already playing without Jake Bowers and their quarterback Cale Goings and Jeremy Sawyer due to suspension, also Paul Baltazar, their best lineman, went out in like 2 plays into the game, and Aberdeen still managed to pull out that win against Black Hills. Really impressive.
Wow.
Hoquiam, love for the Grizzlies.
Yes.
Came up with a huge league win over Elma on Friday at Davis Field in Elma. The Grizzlies now 3-2 on the season. So happy for them. Held up.
Sorry.
Hoquiam quarterback Xander Jump threw 2 touchdown passes, both to Owen McNeil. Elma got most of its offense through the air. Carter Studer passed for 223 yards, connecting with Kyron Hackney 8 times for 133 yards and 2 scores. Austin Salazar and Isaac Phillips both scored on the ground for the Eagles.
Montesano traveled to Shelton to take on the High Climbers on Friday night and took down the High Climbers 35-13. Bulldog quarterback Jaden McElravy led all rushers with 120 yards and 2 touchdowns, including an 85-yard scamper in the first quarter, which opened the scoring. McElravy also passed for 145 yards and
Music bed together.
Oh, I wouldn't make it.
He wouldn't,
match.
yeah.
I would just be like, the stream, the show died. But yeah, you can start from the beginning.
Okay, let's start it over.
You can just say.
Actually, and now
hey,
that
we're
I think
back.
about it, Daniel, why don't I read Aberdeen and Monty, and you read Hoquiam and Elma? Since you read the Hoquiam Elma.
I
one,
think
since
we're
you
live
read
now.
it. Okay.
We're up. We should be up.
are we back?
I think we're back.
We're back. Sorry, computer issues. Then let's go into the local sports roundup.
Without music.
Sweet.
Aberdeen improved to 3-2 on the season with a 24-14 win over Black Hills at Stewart Field on Friday. Aiden Watkins, potential athlete of the week, stole the show on offense for the Bobcats, rushing for 199 yards and 2 touchdowns. Watkins also caught 2 passes for 25 yards, including a 12-yard touchdown from Grady Springer. Springer also rushed for 92 yards. Aberdeen, still playing shorthanded due to multiple injuries and a suspension, shifted to a run-heavy offense and rushed for 302 yards as a team.
You're
Road gating
listening
the
to
Wolves.
Scrimmage.
Yes, you are. Hopefully you're listening to the scrimmage. Hoquiam came up with a huge league win over Elma against Friday. Sorry. Hoquiam came up with a huge win over Elma on Friday at Davis Field. There it is. The Grizzlies now are 3-2 on the season, and they held off a late Eagles rally for a 33-30 victory. Elma dropped to 2-3 with the loss. Jake Templer led the Grizzlies on 28 carries for 132 yards and 2 touchdowns, and Anthony Burtonshaw picked up 74 yards on 11 carries and 1 score. Interesting stats there. Hoquiam quarterback Xander jumped through 2 touchdown passes, both to Owen McNeil, who also had an interception on defense. Athlete of the week potential there? Maybe. Carter Studer also passed for 223 yards, connecting with Kyron Hackney 8 times for 133 yards and 2 scores. Hey. Austin Salazar and Isaac Phillips both scored on the ground for the Eagles.
Montesano traveled to Shelton on Friday night and took down the High Climbers 35-13.
High Climbers?
Bulldog quarterback Jaden McElravy led all rushers with 120 yards and 2 touchdowns, including an 85-yard scamper in the first quarter.
The first time we did this was way better.
Which opened scoring. It feels better with the music, though.
You know, what's funny is we both did different stories last time, too.
McElravy also passed for 145 yards and a fourth-quarter touchdown to Caleb Ames. Ames also caught an 8-yard touchdown pass from Jackson Wilson in the second quarter. Ames also stiff-armed a defender the ground in the face. Gabe Bodwell capped scoring with a 6-yard touchdown run in the last 2 minutes of the fourth quarter, and Montesano improved to 4-1 on the season with the win.
Raymond South Bend RSB, my lock of the week, remained undefeated with a 20-7 win at Forks on Friday. Farrell Johnson led the way for RSB with 117 rushing yards and 1 touchdown. Austin Snodgrass scored twice on the ground for the Ravens.
PL Willapa Valley.
The Ravens.
We should be live.
And now it's time.
Wait. Wait to be safe first.
Got it. And now it's time for the local sports roundup. Aberdeen football improved to 3-2 on the season with a 24-14 win over Black Hills at Stewart Field on Friday.
Let's go.
Aiden Watkins stole the show on offense for the Bobcats, rushing for 199 yards and 2 touchdowns. Watkins also caught 2 passes for 25 yards, including a 12-yard touchdown from Grady Springer. Springer also rushed for 92 yards. Aberdeen, still playing shorthanded due to multiple injuries and a suspension, shifted to a run-heavy offense and rushed for 302 yards as a team. I will add as a side note that in addition to Cale Goings and Jake Bowers both being out for Aberdeen and Jeremy Sawyer being out with a suspension, Paul Baltazar, their best lineman, also went out early in the game with an injury.
Cale somehow played on defense, though.
Yeah.
Amazing. Just great.
Right.
Also, take that, Black Hills. Hoquiam came up with a huge league win over Elma on Friday at Davis Field. The Grizzlies, now 3-2 on the season, held off a late Eagles rally for a 33-30 victory. Elma dropped to 2-3 with the loss. Jake Templer led the Grizzlies with 28 carries for 132 yards and 2 touchdowns, and Anthony Burtonshaw picked up 74 yards, 74 yards with 11 carries and 1 score. Okay. Hoquiam quarterback Xander jumped through 2 touchdowns, both to Owen McNeil. Elma got most of its offense through the air. Carter Studer passed for 223 yards, connecting with Kyron Hackney 8 times for 133 yards and 2 scores. Austin Salazar and Isaac Phillips both scored on the ground for the Eagles. Also going to mention that Owen McNeil also had an interception on defense.
Montesano traveled to Shelton to face the High Climbers on Friday night and took down the High Climbers 35-13. High Climbers. Bulldog quarterback Jaden McElravy led all rushers with 120 yards and 2 touchdowns, including an 85-yard scamper in the first quarter, which opened scoring. McElravy also passed for 145 yards and a fourth-quarter touchdown to Caleb Ames. Ames also caught an 8-yard touchdown pass from Jackson Wilson in the second quarter. Ames also stiff-armed a defender in the face and took him to the ground. Gabe Bodwell capped scoring with a 6-yard touchdown run in the last 2 minutes of the fourth quarter, and Montesano improved to 4-1 on the season with the win.
Raymond South Bend, RSB, otherwise known as my lock of the week, remained undefeated with a 20-7 win at Forks on Friday. And you know that when you go to Forks, you start at least 7 points down.
Vampires.
Beryl Johnson
Werewolves.
led RSB with 117 yards and 1 touchdown. Austin Snodgrass scored twice on the ground for the Ravens.
PL Willapa Valley picked up its second win of the season, brutal schedule so far, by trouncing Morton White Pass 41-8 on Friday. That was on the road for PL Willapa Valley. Blake Howard led the Titans with 120 rushing yards and 3 tutties. Athlete of the week?
Acosta improved to 3-1 on the season with a 55-42 track meet of a win over Chief Leshai on Friday in Westport. The Wildcats rushed for over 500 yards. Wow! In the 8-man contest, led by the duo of Andrew Martin and Josh Figueroa. Martin rushed for 192 yards and 2 touchdowns, while Figueroa racked up 149 yards and scored 3 times.
Lake Quinault continued its 6-man football dominance on Thursday.
Wait, what?
There's like a handful of teams in the state
What?
playing 6-man this year.
What?
And 3 of them are from our area.
That's a thing?
Yeah, 6-man dominance on Thursday in
I
Vancouver.
went to the wrong school.
Trouncing the Washington School for the Deaf 61-0. The Elks got 2 touchdowns apiece from Charles Gumencido and Cody Perry. And this concludes the local sports roundup.
Finally.
Yeah, so there are
That took us 3
sorry,
attempts.
guys.
there are less than 10 teams, I think it's 6 or 7, that are playing 6-man football this year, and 3 of them are Merriam Knight, Lake Quinault, and Wishkah Valley. So 3 places, 3 schools in our area are playing 6-man football this year.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I bet that's fun football.
I bet it's a lot of scoring.
Yeah.
And really tired players at the end.
Yes, absolutely. So, Justin, we both were at games this week.
Yeah.
You want to start off by talking about the game you were at?
I do.
Oh.
I want to talk a little bit about the Montesano game.
Real quick here.
Yeah.
We've had 2 computer crashes.
Right.
So, for those streaming, that's why we dipped out for a while. But also, we had a long Stump Daniel. Mm-hmm. We had our local sports roundup.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about Monty. We're going to talk about Hoquiam. But also stay tuned because we're going to talk more about Aberdeen as well.
Correct.
Okay. Just wanted to get that out there. Give people a little bit of a preview.
I don't think we need to talk a ton about Montesano. This was a non-league game. It was a cross-class game. I don't think we need to dwell on it forever. But I do think it was kind of a big statement for Montesano to go up against a quality 2A team because Shelton is actually pretty good. And if I had to pick one word to describe them, it would be physical. So they have a huge roster, and they have a roster full of players that only plays one side of the ball.
Wow. It's an area that's really growing right now.
Yeah, and there's a lot of surrounding cities of Shelton, and I think they just all kind of converge on that high school. So it's a big school. I would say, as we spend so much time on this podcast talking about all the schools that we hate, I'm not saying that I love Shelton, but I would say this is the first time that I've been to a football game at Shelton. Their facility is really nice. Their lighting, and since I was taking photos, this is a big deal. Their lighting is amazing. It's probably the best high school football lighting that I've taken photos in.
Interesting.
And every person that I dealt with on my way into the stadium was just incredibly friendly.
Nice.
They did a great job with the production of their game. They really do a lot to increase excitement, including like every time they score, they have somebody down there with a chainsaw on the track that's like cutting a part of a log.
Nice.
It was really cool. So hats off to Shelton for what they do with their athletic department.
Well done, Shelton.
Well done, Shelton.
We definitely don't hate you like Black Hills.
Also, they have a massive logger with an axe that when you're walking into the football stadium, you have to walk past it. And I was looking at it like, I want a giant bulldog in front of our
Yes.
stadium because everyone who walks past it will walk by and be like, whoa, that's intimidating.
That's pretty cool.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So the whole production in Shelton was really awesome. The officiating, I'll describe it as weird. I'm not going to do the thing where we go into all the little things that was wrong with the officiating, and I'll just say that there was a lot of very odd things that happened that benefited or hurt both sides.
Yeah.
Montesano had 15 penalties. I believe you would get an argument on how many of those should have been penalties,
Yeah.
but
That's a lot.
it's a lot. and it felt like at points in the game there was just laundry everywhere. But the Bulldogs overcame against a really physical, big, strong Shelton team, and came up with a 35-13 win. I thought, as the offense was sputtering at times, Jaden McElravy really he continues like week in and week out to be the guy who has really good games and we never give athlete of the week to. But he is really the straw that stirs the drink on this Montesano offense, not only with the way he can pass the ball, but also with the way that he moves the ball on the ground. And he proved that by being the leading rusher and the leading passer, obviously, for Montesano in the game. Caleb Ames had the game that I think I've been kind of expecting that he was going to have at some point. He's big, strong, fast, and really good ball skills. He's had a couple of miscues early in the season, and he's been pretty good for the most part. But this game, he really broke out. There were 2 catches. One was by Bodie Polar, and one was by Caleb, in which they were interfered with in the process of the catch, and they still managed to pull it down. If you heard a weird sound, we apologize. Daniel just signaled for Andrew to come back in the room, and then the moment Andrew came back, the sound stopped.
Exactly. Yeah.
It
was weird.
But yeah, so I think a good showing for Montesano going and playing against a good 2A school and coming back with a win, and really in the end just making me feel more weird and have more questions about that loss to Black Hills at the beginning of the season.
It's so weird. And again, yeah, I'm just gonna say it's not my fault that I didn't pick Monty that week against Aberdeen.
Yeah. Well, I was the only one who believed in them.
Yeah.
Congratulations to me.
To you. Good to know that about Shelton. I was kind of curious because Shelton has been kind of the whipping post of 3A for so long.
Yeah.
And they've finally dropped down into 2A. And now I feel like they're where they belong.
Well, that's the hard
part.
part.
But that area feels like it's growing. Yeah. So how long are they going to be in... Okay,
Andrew walked out of the room and there's another weird sound.
What is going on?
The production of this show has been really weird.
Yeah.
I think the hard part was too, like, Shelton, even as a 3A school.
What is going on?
Is it your phone?
It can't be my phone.
My phone?
My phone didn't just leave.
Is the stream still on? So with Shelton, and it looks like everything's fine, and we apologize for all of this. But with Shelton, it's been like, even as a 3A school, they were the whipping post for 1A schools.
Yeah.
So definitely. I think the Shelton athletic program in general is just on the rise. The only thing I've ever been to besides this football game was a powerlifting meet there last year. Okay. And again, this was like, it was COVID times still, so they couldn't do it indoors. They dragged all of their powerlifting equipment out onto the track of the football field and they did just a really good job.
That's awesome.
So I feel like there's some real dedication with the athletic department in Shelton. And I just thought it was a really enjoyable experience. Except for the PA, which I've realized as we go on that I just hate PAs. It's like...
You mean public address, like the announcers? It's hard to find a good announcer, I feel
Less is more. Notice to all PAs, when the play is over, say who ran the ball, who made the tackle, how many yards, what's the down and distance.
Yes.
We don't need more than that.
Yeah. Definitely don't start while the play's still going.
Exactly. Anyway, I'm not going to rail on people because I think most of these people are just doing it because they needed somebody.
Yeah, exactly.
And in Shelton, definitely not going to rail on it because I thought the whole experience was so enjoyable there.
Exactly. And I feel like those people rarely get clear instruction. I've done public address announcing twice, and my instruction was go do public address announcing.
Yeah.
Are you including the Forks?
No, I'm not including the Forks Demolition Derby.
Forks Demolition Derby?
Yeah, that was the worst experience on a microphone
was
I've
probably
ever
his
had.
first
Was that
time
in
ever
Forks?
doing PA announcing.
Yes, it was.
Was that in Forks, or was that literal like eating utensils going against each other, trying to demolish each other?
It was that.
Okay.
No, it was in Forks. It was a demolition derby, and my dad was like, Daniel wants to go into broadcasting. Hey, Mr. PA announcing guy, my son wants to go into broadcasting. You should let him do this for this one. And the guy hands me a microphone and says, go, as cars are just crashing into each other. And I literally went, and here comes, oh! And there comes, oh! Oh, and look out, oh!
I think for Demolition Derby, that's perfect.
It was okay. No, it was real bad. I didn't know the names of anybody either, so that didn't help. Okay, so
If their names were O, you were spot on.
yeah. Anyway, they need more instruction.
Okay.
Because then I was handed like a raffle ticket, and they said, read this. That was all the instruction I got. But yeah, what is it? It's who ran the ball,
Who made the tackle?
who made the tackle,
How many yards did they gain?
and
what's the down and distance?
Yeah, that's excellent.
That's it.
Yep.
No more.
And then get really excited when there's touchdowns or first downs or fourth downs.
But wait until like the dust has settled.
Yeah,
Like let them have their touchdown celebration and then say it.
yeah. So like the times that I got to do it, finally at the end of the game, I got into the rhythm of going, touchdown, Bearcats.
That's pretty good.
It was a lot of fun.
I like that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like a lot of PA announcers want to just overflow with personality.
Yep.
You're in a lot. It's great to have personality, but only have personality in those things.
Yes.
Like be unique in the way that you announce a first down.
Yep.
And make sure that if you announce a first down or a touchdown, there's no flags on the field.
Yeah.
Because that's real deflating for your fans if you're going, and it's a touchdown for the Bearcats, and then there's no touchdown.
Actually, I would say that that's a huge thing.
Yeah.
Don't announce it until you're sure.
Yeah.
You're not doing play-by-play on the radio.
Yep.
People see what happened. Wait until you know what it is, then say it out loud.
Yep.
Yep.
You
Smart.
create problems when you say the wrong thing and
We
then
should-
something different happens.
We should teach a PA announcer school.
Yes.
No, Glenn Johnson
Yes.
should teach a PA announcing school.
No, me.
Otherwise known as the mayor of Pullman.
No,
I think
me.
he isn't anymore.
Anyway,
He finished
All right.
4 years as WSU's PA announcer in 2020.
Wait, finished 4 years?
40.
40. Okay, I was gonna say it was way
It
longer
was
than that.
40 years in
14?
2020.
He was my advisor in school over there, and he was also mayor of Pullman.
well, the scrimmage is brought to you by Ole Penn Real Estate
It
and the
is.
law office of Jeffrey A. Domashevitz. And I think we dwelled on Montesano long enough and PA announcers
Yeah.
long enough. Daniel, tell us about this Hoquiam Elma game that you covered.
What a game! I mean, this game was back and forth. Hoquiam was grinding it out on the ground. Elma was chucking it. It was so much fun. Hoquiam's running game and how they stopped the running game up front on the other side. I gotta give. I don't think I gave enough love on the broadcast to the big dudes for Hoquiam
Boots.
with how well they played. But the offensive line, thinking back on it after the game, the offensive line and the defensive line for Hoquiam. So I'm talking about offensively, especially I thought Trevor Turpin had an excellent game, but James Monroe had a great game. Braden Zabarak played well. Edgar Tobar and Brendan Attard played well. On defense, there's that weird sound again.
Why does that happen every time Andrew walks away?
I have no idea.
It sounds like somebody's like spraying an air gun.
Yeah,
Like, psh, psh, psh.
On defense, James
you're
Monroe
imagining it.
played great. Trevor Turpin clogged up the middle very well. Brendan Attard and Court Gordon all played very well up front. And so those guys did just an absolutely amazing job. I have very different numbers when it comes to the rushing numbers that we had. So I had it being very balanced between Jake Templer and Anthony Burtonshaw.
Okay.
So I had them both for like, gosh, now all my notes are all over the place. Where are they at? Where are my notes?
You lost them.
I lost my notes.
Well, while you find your notes.
Lost notes.
Oh, wait,
Notes.
here they are.
Okay.
Here they are. Okay. So I had Templer for 21 carries and 109 yards, and I had Burtonshaw for 21 carries and 107 yards. So I had them being very balanced, and they Templer had 2 touchdowns and Burtonshaw had 1, which was later corrected in the Daily World article. But I had them being very balanced, and that's what it felt like throughout the game. I will say, who knows on the yardages, because there's no yard markers in Elma, but it was such an exciting game, and I haven't, in high school football, there's a lot of blowouts. Mm-hmm. And I was so grateful that I got to cover an exciting, close game down to the wire. Elma did not give up. I remember broadcasting it, and even when Hoquiam got a big stop at one point, I was like, this game isn't over. Yeah, that was a huge stop, and I felt like it was the play of the game, and then I looked at how much time was left, and I was like, you know what? They could get the ball back here. And they did with like 2 minutes left, and it was like, this is still nail biter type of game, and it was just an absolute blast. And it felt like Hoquiam was in control, but they had 2 punting miscues that were huge in this game. So one of them was in the first half, and their defense was playing great. But then they had a snap go over the punter's head, and he picked it up, and he was able to punt it, but it didn't get back to the line of scrimmage.
Ooh.
Elma then takes it in for a touchdown. Then in the fourth quarter, they're up by 10. Are they up by 10 at that point? I can't remember. I can't remember exactly how much they were up by, but it was... Okay, so after the safety, they were up by 10. So they're up by 12, and they're getting ready to punt, and the ball just went straight over the punter's head and for immediate safety because it went out the back of the end zone. It was like, all right, it's a 10-point game now. This is going to get interesting, and Elma responded well, and it was such an exciting game. Hackney is an excellent receiver. Mm-hmm. He makes a ton of plays. Gibson Kane is a weapon. He struggled in the first part of the game. I think this might have been a different game because when Elma started to really come on is when he got his hands back. Because I think he dropped 2 or 3 passes in the first half. In the second half, he played very well. And all of a sudden, the offense started flowing when they had more than one weapon they could go to, or consistent weapon, I should say. So they have a couple of dynamic receivers there in Hackney and Kane that I think can be very dangerous on any given night. Studer makes some great passes, and he definitely has the ability to be an excellent athlete. That's the sound we were talking about. Andrew's finally here for that. That's very weird. So it's... I think Elma can be a good team, but Hoquiam came out and played an extremely physical, bruising brand of football where they were going to take it right at you, and they were just going to see what happens when that happened. And then Owen McNeil made the big plays when they needed it on the outside, and Xander Jump in this game threw some beautiful balls to Owen and gave him the chance to go make plays. One of them was like a 15-yard touchdown pass, and he basically took the snap, took one step back, and just threw it straight up in the air and was like, all right, Owen, go get it. And he did, caught it, and then he dove into the end zone for a touchdown. So it was a good game.
I have to issue 2 official apologies.
Uh-oh.
One is to Gibson Kane, because we spent an entire podcast calling you Austin because of a typo.
Yep.
And we sincerely apologize.
Yes, absolutely.
That's awful.
We have been corrected. And now, going forward, we will know and call you by the right name.
Exactly. Gibson.
The second apology is to the Hoquiam Grizzly football program.
Yeah.
Because,
real quick, before you apologize to them,
yeah,
Austin Salazar is an absolute beast for Elma.
Okay.
Hoquiam was like, he's on that side of the field? Yeah, we'll run it this way.
Okay.
Okay. So I just wanted to mention that real quick.
Also, before you apologize for anything at all, Francis has pointed out that he likes the sound of the JDSF, the Justin Domashevitz School of Fraudcasting.
I think we could do that.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Okay,
but back to apologizing to my alma mater.
It has been brought up that we have given no love to the 3-2 Grizzlies.
Yes.
Which is a fair criticism. We have given no love to the 3-2 Grizzlies, who have a winning record and just won a league game against an opponent which I personally gave them no chance against.
Yep.
So the only positive thing I've said about the Grizzlies this season was, hey, I saw you at Tumwater scrimmages in the summer, and you looked better.
Yeah.
Since then, there hasn't been a lot of Grizzly mentions.
Yep.
And definitely not very many positive Grizzly mentions. So I would like to apologize and say we are turning over a new leaf. And when I say we, I mean I. Because I feel like every time Daniel has tried to mention something positive about Grizzlies, it's fallen on deaf ears.
Yes.
So we will give the Grizzlies their appropriate due henceforth.
Absolutely.
Congratulations. This is a huge win. The league is brutal this year because Eatonville's really good. Tenino's really good. Eatonville and Tenino just played to within a score of each other. Eatonville did win, but Tenino had a lead late in the game, and Eatonville took it back. It appears that Montesano is very good. Getting a playoff spot out of the Evergreen 1A league is going to be really hard. So I'm not saying Hoquiam, congratulations. You're going to be a playoff team. What I will say is, Hoquiam, you are better than I gave you credit for, and I sincerely apologize.
And what they're saying is, like, their mantra is compete.
Yeah.
Because last year they went into survival mode.
Mm-hmm.
They had like 20-some kids on the roster.
Yep.
They were having, just crazy situations
and
happen
I think
left and right.
Just like 2 seniors or something?
Just only 2 seniors. Both of them got hurt, season-ending injuries. Geez. So they went into survival mode this year. This year, it's we're going to compete. And they showed it this game. And I got to say, they have a little bit of a thunder and lightning there. Templar isn't a true lightning, but because he runs with a little bit more power than that and likes to still run in between the tackles. And Burtonshaw, our friend of the show, Jamie Filmley, said Burtonshaw's out there running like Mike Allstott. And I was like,
okay.
Oh my gosh, he is. Like, it was
downhill.
That was an excellent description of it. And yet they'd still give him a toss. And they'd toss it out to him on the outside. And as soon as he could, he would turn it downhill and just go hunting for guys to run over.
Okay.
That was an excellent comparison. So I thought that was great.
I am now excited to watch Hoquiam play. I am sad to announce that the only time I'll have a chance is when they play Montesano, because I will be at every Montesano game because my son plays on that team.
Yeah.
Whereas like a lot of seasons leading up to this, it's like I mostly watch Montesano, but if there's a chance to go watch a really good game somewhere else, I might do it. But not happening this year.
You can't.
No.
Nope. Absolutely. We already took our commercial break, didn't we?
No, we didn't.
Oh.
We didn't do our commercial break in this podcast. It feels like we did because we've had 2 stoppages due to computer issues.
Yes.
Sorry, guys.
And we have some Aberdeen football to talk about. We have poll results still to do.
And we have our athlete of the week.
And we have our athlete of the week to name. And there's so many good ones. I think we're going to have to do the thing again where we name an athlete of the week, but also do a post with here's all the other people who were awesome.
Yes.
Because there's a lot.
It is.
But first, let's take a quick commercial break.
At Ole Pen Real Estate, we have solidified our foundation on 4 core values. First, we continuously focus on growing our knowledge in the market and in our practices to bring the highest level of competency to our clients. Second, we provide a high level of integrity, compassion, and kindness in every aspect of our business. Third, we put the human element above business through humor, enthusiasm, and patience. And last but not least, we proactively respond to the needs of our clients. Our mission is to create a personal real estate experience, one person and one home at a time. With Ole Pen, it's personal.
Welcome back to the Scrimmage. We are brought to you by Ole Pen Real Estate and the law office of Jeffrey A. Domashevitz, and we have some local sports to talk about. I didn't do my part of that.
No, you didn't.
Let's try again. We are brought to you by Ole Pen Real Estate and the law office of Jeffrey A. Domashevitz. I'm Justin Domashevitz, no relation.
What's the A stand for?
And we still have, we're going to talk about Aberdeen's huge win over Black Hills.
Let's go.
And then we're going to do poll results, and we're going to name an athlete of the week. Let's talk about Aberdeen. No, let's do athlete of the week first.
Yes, absolutely. So we got some honorable mentions, I feel like.
So many.
This guy was nominated by a third party, and I also thought that he'd be in the running after watching the Hoquiam game. Owen McNeil, I thought he played an absolutely whale of a game.
So not to cut you off, but that is interesting to me because when I looked at the stat line, the stat line is good, not great. But when I asked you for one from the Hoquiam Elma game, he was the first one you came up with.
Yeah, exactly. And there was the running backs definitely, like, if one of the running backs, they split it, right? Because I had them both for about 20 carries and about 110 yards.
Yeah.
But Owen was the go-to receiver. And not only that, because I don't think I even wrote down his stats.
He had 5 catches for 55 yards and 2 touchdowns, according to the Daily World.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
And he had 2 touchdowns, but he played excellent defense as well. He must have knocked down 2 or 3 deep passes, and he had an interception on a go route as well. When the ball went to his side of the field, when the pass went to his side of the field, I think they completed 1 pass, and it was a short one. There might have been some short passes completed on his side, but they tested him deep constantly, and he came up with big play after big play. So he was my first thought when it came to that, because not just because of his offensive numbers, but the combined game that he had. And I didn't even get to read his quote. He had a quote in the paper, too.
Yeah, it was really good, actually, and I felt like, in a way, he was speaking to everyone, but he could have been speaking to me.
Up from here, I'm glad to be on the field with all my brothers out here and get that win.
That's such a good quote.
It's a great quote. Absolutely great. So he was who I thought of, but I think there's better options.
There's a few,
or at least a better option.
I mean,
who
honestly,
else are you thinking?
If we look through it, what Lake Quinault did with their two guys that had touchdowns, had multiple touchdowns in their game. Acosta in their 8-man contest had 192 yards, 2 touchdowns from Andrew Martin, and 149 yards and 3 touchdowns from Josh Figueroa.
Yeah,
PL Willapa Valley had Blake Howard with 120 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns.
Yep.
Raymond South Bend had 2 guys. They're really good, playing against a good Forks team. Farrell Johnson, 117 yards and a touchdown. Austin Snodgrass, who was a previous athlete of the week, also had 2 rushing touchdowns. The guy I feel like, I told you before, I think we overlook week in and week out, is the kind of the straw that stirs the drink on the Montesano offense, Jaden McElravy.
Yeah.
3 total touchdowns, and if you combine passing and rushing, he had 265 yards. But ultimately, to me, it's this Aberdeen game in which there was like a one-man show on offense. And that's tough, too, because you got Trey Anderson there, and we've seen Trey have huge games in the past, and we know what he's capable of. But Aiden Watkins, with 199 rushing yards, 25 receiving yards, and 3 total touchdowns in a game that, if you look at transitive law, Aberdeen got smoked by Monty. Monty lost to Black Hills.
Yep.
Aberdeen plays Black Hills. They come away with the win. Aiden Watkins is the center of everything. It's a league game. Aberdeen is now 2-0.
Who picked
in
Aberdeen
their league
in that game?
You did, and Daniel and Andrew both picked Aberdeen. Everybody else picked against them. So
because they lacked faith.
You had a game that, if you listen to our quote-unquote experts, you're not supposed to win.
Yep.
And if you listen to transitive law, you're not supposed to win.
It's a law, not a suggestion.
And you went out there and, due in large part to Aiden Watkins, you come out with a 10-point victory in this game.
Yep.
He was phenomenal. So if I had a vote, I would vote for Aiden Watkins for Athlete of the Week.
Me too.
Also, he was nominated by a teammate.
Yeah, I'm going there too. And anytime you get it by a teammate, that's an added bonus.
Yeah.
Especially a teammate that's not related to one of our hosts.
Take note, teammates.
Yes. So I'm going to go Aiden Watkins, 199 yards rushing, 25 yards receiving, and 3 touchdowns. Aberdeen Bobcats. Aiden, you are our Ole Penn Real Estate Athlete of the Week.
Awesome.
Congratulations.
Yes. Awesome game.
Now to our broader discussion about the Aberdeen football program, because you got passionate last week.
I did.
And it has come with some response.
I would say a lot of response.
More than I was expecting.
Justin likes to stir the pot.
Yes.
I actually, to be completely honest, I did not anticipate the amount of people who would give a crap what I thought.
Do you know why?
Do I know why?
Because you're just a biased Monty guy who doesn't think that people care about Aberdeen sports, Justin.
I didn't. I knew people care about Aberdeen sports. I thought.
Is that my phone? Something's causing interference.
I thought that in large part, people from Aberdeen would be like, "Who cares what this loser says?"
Yeah.
Actually, that's reasonable.
But instead, I think what happened was what I said resonated with a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
I got a lot of positive response, like, "Hey, thank you for saying that." And if you didn't listen last week, basically what I said was this Aberdeen team should be really good. There's a lot of adults who have failed them along the way. I didn't name anyone specifically. I didn't call anyone out specifically. And I said, it's a shame that they're going out when they should be having a statement game against Prosser. Instead, they look like they don't belong on the field with Prosser, and it's for a variety of reasons.
Yeah.
Did not blame a single individual adult, did not blame any group of adults 100%.
No, I mean, it goes to even the city of Aberdeen who screwed up the permits for their field.
Exactly.
Like, so, this is a widespread thing. This is not us trying to say that one person has a problem.
So I did get a little bit of negative response.
Right.
But for me, and maybe this is just through my filter of people aren't going to reach out to me to say bad things, but I did get a little bit of negative response, and one of these was a public Facebook post by someone who I'll just say it's Joe. I'm not going to say the whole name, but it was a public Facebook post, so I feel like it's fair to share some of what he said.
Yeah.
Because in my opinion, if you got your feathers ruffled by what I said last week, you probably missed the point of what I said. Because not only did I not
specifically, what was the point of what you were saying?
If
you had to boil it down, what's the point of what you were saying?
The point of what I was saying is these kids have worked their butts off for nearly a decade, outworked most of the people that they're playing against, and because of a series of miscues and flat out bad behavior by a variety of different adults in a variety of different groups, they are now not performing at their best on the field.
Gotcha. Okay.
And some of that is due to injury, and some of the injury is due to the field issue, which was an Aberdeen City issue.
Yep.
Some of it, and I'll say because there was a little bit of confusion over this, when I said what I said on the podcast, it sounded like I was completely acquitting the current coaches. So I felt the need to clarify, and I tweeted out some stuff saying, no, I'm not letting the coaches off the hook. And then I think it was taken as a personal attack on every individual Aberdeen coach.
Yeah.
And that is flatly not true.
Yeah.
I mean, since my personal belief is that in general, people who coach high school and youth sports and school sports, I've met tons of them.
Yeah.
And vast majority of them,
we've been them.
Yes, exactly. And the vast majority of them,
all of us have been youth coaches.
Exactly. The
all three of us. I just want to say this.
Yeah.
All three of us have coached youth sports on a variety of levels.
Right.
So I just want to point
that out. And some of
out.
us have coached high school and junior high and other stuff too.
Yeah. And I could be counted as one of the adults who has let down the Aberdeen program.
I'm not saying that.
I am not coaching with it, or I'm not helping. I was not really coaching, but I was not able to help this year, and it makes me feel bad too.
But this is an important point, and I want to make it very clear. The vast majority of people I know who coach in these scenarios do what they do well. They do it for the right reason, and they do it because they want to, because they care about the kids.
Yep.
There are always going to be bad apples in the bunch. There's always going to be people who do it for, self-promotion of their child. There are going to be people who do it because they enjoy having some kind of power or influence.
Yep.
But the vast majority of people in these scenarios do it for the right reasons. So I want to make that really clear that when I said what I said last week, I was not saying everyone on the Aberdeen coaching staff is terrible and they should be blamed for what's going on.
Yeah.
But I want to read portions of what Joe said on Facebook because I think a lot of it was really good. He mentioned a friend of his named David, who is a coach on the team, and Joe took offense to what I said because he took it as a shot at all the Aberdeen coaches.
Yes.
Which I did not intend it to be.
Yep.
But Joe said, you're allowed to have opinions on things, but before you post on a podcast and social media, you should have all the information.
And he tagged us in it, too.
Yeah. And he said, Coach Terrence isn't only one of those coaches who sacrifice. They all take time away from their own families, daily, on weekends, camps, and clinics.
Yep.
And then he pointed out, oops, sorry, I lost my place here. Bad job by me. He pointed out that if you're going based only on success on the field and not on development of young people, then you're missing the point.
Yeah.
Which anybody who's listened to our show consistently over a period of time know that's a conversation we've had over and over and over again.
Constantly.
To the point that I think sometimes people who listen all the time probably get annoyed.
Yep.
The other thing was, I just, boy, I don't want to get hung up too bad on this one Facebook post by this one guy.
Yep.
I want to make sure everybody knows that I am not basing this entire opinion on what's happening on the field. I am basing it on stuff that is public, that's gone on in the Aberdeen football program and surrounding the Aberdeen football program that maybe people think is a secret, but it's not. I'm not even an Aberdeen guy. I'm a Monty guy. And much of the stuff that has happened has gotten to me because it's a small community.
Yep.
And it's people who know people who know people. And I hear about it and I reach out to other people and I confirm it.
And I'm a Hoquiam guy and I find out.
Exactly. So I want to make sure that I make it clear that, number one, I am not basing it solely on what happens on the field. I'm basing it on the program as a whole.
Yep.
I think they made a huge step in adjusting, and the great win at Black Hills.
Yes.
So if I had any gripes about the coaching staff and what they did through the first 4 weeks of the season, they did a great job game planning and winning at Black Hills.
Absolutely.
Shorthanded, great job.
Yep.
But the other thing is, I need everyone to know that I am not rooting against Aberdeen. I think that's something that, like, everyone, again, people who listen to the show would know. Daniel, you and I have been covering all these local teams for a decade.
At least.
Maybe more.
Yeah.
And
Gosh, you guys are
whether
old.
it's radio or print or whatever we've been doing, podcast, whatever. We've been covering all these teams, and when they're not playing against each other, we always root for the local team.
Yeah.
And I'll sometimes make a joke that I'll say things like, I'll root for all the local teams except Elma. That's really not true because I actually do root for Elma, even though I'm a Monty guy, when they play against outside teams. So there's no single little tiny part of me that wants to see Aberdeen fail. I want to see it succeed. I've been watching that group of kids play since they were in grade school.
Yeah.
And I saw the dominance on the field, and I saw the hard work, and I saw the little something special, because I think that's one thing that's been pointed out to me is this group of Aberdeen seniors, which I've been talking up for the last several weeks. It's not like there are some physical freaks in there. It's not like this is the most athletically gifted group of kids I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But it was a great group of kids who bought into the team aspect, who played for each other and worked their tails off. And so that's why I got so emotional last week. That's why I got so
I go so
boisterous
far as to
last
say
week.
they are working their tails off.
Exactly.
Yes.
Thank you, Andrew. Very good. So my point was not so much that, hey, I need to take a shot at Aberdeen. My point was I got emotional because I've seen this coming, and I've seen this moment coming, and I've been anticipating and waiting for this moment, and now they're not achieving at the level that I hoped they would.
Yeah. And the hopes have been high around the whole area for them.
Yeah.
Whether you're rooting for them or competing against them. And I think that's been one of the most impressive things to me is a lot of times when children, 7th, 8th grade, have so much success, they take the foot off the gas.
Mm-hmm.
These kids did the opposite.
Yeah.
They worked harder and harder and harder and harder and harder and harder. And these kids have put in the work. And that's been the most impressive thing to me about this age group is their work ethic and how they have tried to go the extra mile to get better and to do better and to build to this moment. And yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm a Hoquiam guy. You're a Monty guy. You know, whatever. When we're playing,
Andrew's an Aberdeen guy.
When they're facing other people, I mean, that clip of me going, I'm getting emotional, where I'm getting really emotional about what's going on.
That's true.
That's at Stewart Field. I'm talking about the Aberdeen Bobcats.
Daniel actually will sometimes find himself getting really emotionally invested in an Aberdeen game, and then start like hating himself for getting so emotionally invested. Don't you?
It has happened.
Daniel, do you remember the time that we were...
I think it happens more with Monty now.
Do you remember the time
true.
when we were broadcasting an Aberdeen game and somebody brought over an Aberdeen basketball jersey and had you put on the basketball jersey?
Yeah.
That was so funny.
Yeah, that was our good friend Veek. Veek brought that jersey over because I made the mistake of wearing a Hoquiam shirt as I was supposed to broadcast impartially. And so Veek saw that and very astutely brought over an Aberdeen jersey for me to put on.
Good job, Veek.
But yeah, no, we have no... That's the thing. To think that people might try and turn what we said, you know... Not thinking about that post at all, but you know what, stuff that gets back to us with other comments about how we might not like Aberdeen or whatever, that couldn't be further from the truth.
And I think too, like it's really easy for us to dwell on like the 2 or 3 people that said something negative when like the overwhelming majority of feedback that we've gotten about that particular video post was like, oh, thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
So
So we'll go with that.
Reach out to us if you want to say something positive.
Exactly. Or negative, because
Just
we'll dwell on it, apparently. That's the
We
thing.
will.
Why do we tend to dwell on negative things?
I don't know.
That totally happens.
I think
The,
it's
the
part
other
of-
company I work for now, I'll get like 20 good comments about something and then one negative comment, and that's the one I talk about.
Yeah.
It's part of human nature.
I don't like it, though.
It's only human
I
nature.
don't like it. All right, so moving on. On a lighter note, you posted some polls.
I
Usually
did.
these polls take big shots at me, and yet I tend to love them. So I'm really excited about where we go with this one. Did you post the one that you said you might post, which is where I said that Monty wet the bed against Black Hills?
I did.
Sweet.
But we're going to start with a different one. Here's your first poll. Did the Mariners... This was actually based on something that I said because I thought I worded this question in a kind of a weird way.
Okay.
The Mariners extended Luis Castillo for 5 years. Did you dig that deal, bro? Because when I wrote the 2-minute drill questions, I said, did you dig that deal? And then afterwards, I was like, oh, that's weird.
By the way, the Broncos lost. So even though Russell Wilson went 17 of 25 for 237 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 picks, and a rushing touchdown, and he led them in rushing with 4 carries for 29 yards, they lost. So it's all his fault.
89% of people...
So, Gino.
89% of people dig the Luis Castillo deal, bro.
Sweet. I dig that, bro.
I dig it too, bro.
This is based on something you said, Daniel. Did the Mariners allowing 11 runs in 1 inning smell as bad as a garbage can full of poopy diapers? Well, Daniel, 76% of the audience agreed with you.
Good.
It did smell
Good.
like a garbage can full of poopy diapers.
That's a bad smell.
It is so bad.
Moving on to
sticky.
something that's more related to me and also a little bit Francis.
Okay.
Do you know where Dennis Rodman and Reba McEntire went to college?
Did
we
anybody get this?
We learned it was the same place. Well, only 58% of the audience said no. So 42% of the
Wow.
audience said, yes, I did know where Dennis Rodman and Reba McEntire
I'm impressed.
went to college, which means 42% of our audience is liars because you did not know that. Okay, this is where we went really hard into the Reba McEntire stuff last week.
Yeah, we did.
Next question. Is Reba McEntire overrated, as I asserted? 67% of the audience said no, she is not overrated.
Wow, how do you feel to be so wrong?
Indifferent. Next Reba McEntire question. Which is Reba better at?
Ooh.
Making music or making sitcoms?
It's a good question.
64% said making music.
Ooh.
Next one. Have you ever wondered why Hoquiam is a county?
I have often.
Well, Daniel, 69% of our audience
69%.
Nice.
said no. They have never wondered why Hoquiam is a county, and I'll count myself among them because I didn't even know that Hoquiam was a county.
Was Wakaya who an acceptable answer?
It was
to
not
that?
one of the
It
options.
should have been.
It should have been. Next question. Did you know that a fortnight is 2 weeks, which I learned for the first time last week as Andrew revealed to me? Well, I now feel like a moron because 67% of our audience said yes, they did know a fortnight was 2 weeks.
Yep.
2 more poll questions. Daniel, this is based on something you said.
Yep.
Should a high school team have to rush for more than 400 yards for their offensive line to be considered for Ole Penn Real Estate Athlete of the Week
Oh, the
honors?
entire offensive line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Well, Daniel, 56% of the audience said no. You said, Montesano, you rush for 300 yards. If your offensive line is going to be Athlete of the Week, you got to rush for 400.
All right, I'm going to lower that to 350.
Okay.
Put out the poll question for next week. Is
Okay.
350 enough?
Got it. This week, Daniel said Montesano's football team, quote, wet the bed against Black Hills in week 1. Do you agree? This is a big one. This is the big poll of the week.
Did we get a lot of response from this one?
6,492 people.
Wow.
answered this
Lying.
poll.
There we go.
58% of the audience said yes, they did wet the bed. And I will add that when I brought this up at home, and I said to my son who plays on the team, Peyton, Daniel said you guys wet the bed against Black Hills. And he said, he's not wrong. So if Peyton happened to have voted in that poll, you would have gotten his poll.
He's like,
his
Dad,
vote.
I've had to do laundry.
He's an honest kid.
Yeah,
Kid.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Yep.
Anyway, that is it for our polls for the week. And that's it for our show.
Yeah, it is it for our show.
My brother points out that Fortnite is actually a Twitch category.
Good to know.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you've been listening to The Scrimmage, which is brought to you by Ole Penn Real Estate and the law office of Jeffrey A. Domashevitz, no relation.
What's the A stand for?
So for my co-host, Daniel, Montesano still wet the bed, Hargrove.
And my co-host, Justin, shockingly doesn't hate Aberdeen, Domashevitz.
And our producer, Andrew, should have gotten a new CPU, gross.
You've been listening to The Scrimmage.
And we're sorry for how many times we crashed.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
I have to pee so bad. How did I not pee